would like to welcome everybody to the kitchen at the house of Tausz. My name is Chef Gyuszi, and I will be preparing a typical Hungarian dish for you, the signature dish of the Hungarian cuisine called chicken paprikash. Of course, for the chicken paprikash we need a couple of sides, and I will come to that in a minute. For the chicken paprikash, of course, we need chicken. I already cut up a chicken into pieces. I deboned the breast, cut each side into 2 pieces, plus the legs are separated. Plus I had another couple of extra legs kicking around in the fridge, so I put that in there as well. Now for the other ingredients in the chicken paprikash, of course, we always start with onions, and then of course garlic. Then we have a small tomato cut up into dice. Also, I diced up a nice yellow pepper, and to flavor the sauce, we will be preparing a sour cream slurry. As far as the spices are concerned, of course, we're going to need salt, we're going to need black pepper, and paprika. Make sure that you buy your paprika at a reputable Eastern European Hungarian store. If you buy yours at Walmart or Canadian Tire, I'm telling you, you're not going to get the same result. We will also put in some extra spicy hot paprika into there to enhance the flavor, as well as what's not traditional is tarragon. I usually put that in there with the creamy sour cream sauce. It enhances the flavor tremendously. Now, that's so much for the chicken paprikash. Of course, we have to have nokedli with it, which is a small Hungarian dumplings. The dumplings are easy to make. Just take a couple of cups of flour, a couple of eggs, a little bit of water, a little bit of salt, and I'll show you how it's done. And far as the greens are concerned, we're going to be preparing a cucumber salad. I've already taken the liberty of slicing this cucumber up, or 2 of them, on a mandolin, and I put salt on it so all the evil juices would drain out. Now, having said that, let's go to the stove and let's start cooking. As you know, in Hungarian cooking, you start with pork fat, you put onions on it, then you decide what you're going to cook. Well, here we have pork fat. You can always use oil. Pork fat is nicely melted. Put the onion on it. There we go. Okay, now the onions look kind of happy in there. They're becoming translucent. So what we'll do is put on the chicken, but only the ones that have the skin on it. There we go. Oh my goodness, look at that. They're ever happy in there. Skin side down. And one more. And what we want to do here is achieve some level of caramelization on the skin. In other words, you want to get it nice and brown. Okay, there we go. You have to make sure that you stir it quite often, otherwise the onions would get burned. And that's not a good thing. I can see they're getting brown now. I don't know whether it shows up on the camera or not, but definitely it's starting to get some coloring on the skin. Anyways, even if you don't get coloring on the skin, the idea here is to saute everything in the oil until the meat gets white coloring. Now we can put in the rest of the meat, which is the breasts. And as I said, the breast meat is a little bit more tender, so I didn't want to put that in there too early. Structurally, it might fall apart if I put it in with the bony parts. As you can see, all the pieces are happy now. The skin is getting a little bit of a nice tan color on it, and all the meat has taken on this white color. So now what we're going to do is first we'll put in the paprika and be generous with it. Okay, so I say probably about 2 tablespoons, maybe 3 in there. And we're going to stir that up. It's getting hot in the kitchen. As they say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, I'm not getting out anytime soon. Oh, there we go. Now we can put on the salt. Just a preliminary smattering of salt or sprinkling of salt. Some black pepper. We never leave that out. We like it like that. Give it another stir. Look at the beautiful color on it already. Oh my goodness, this is actually absolutely beautiful. This is what it should be. Okay, and now we can put in the tomatoes. We can put in the garlic. We didn't want to put the garlic in too early because otherwise it burns. Okay, there we go. And we'll also put in the chopped up, diced yellow pepper. Give that a stir. There you go. And now what we can do is we can put a little bit of water under it. Make sure that it doesn't burn. We'll put enough water in there so it doesn't quite cover the meat. Something like this. Now, I should mention that I didn't use cold water because if I put cold water on there, then the oil and the water just separates, and you have these floating grease islands on there, which is not a desirable thing. Okay, so I put in tepid water. We're going to cook this for about an hour under cover, but not boiling it too hard, just simmering it. So now let's prepare the nokedli. As I said, I have about 2 cups of flour here. I'm going to dump that into a bowl. 2 eggs, peeled. No shells. 1, 2. We're going to put a pinch of salt in it, or 2 pinches. Well, yeah, that's 2 pinches. 3. Now, a lot of people, what they do is at this time, they put in some parsley. You can put in some parsley, you can put in some oregano, you can put in some marjoram, or even green onions. Depends on what you feel like doing. So let's stir it up. Got a wooden spoon here. Put a little bit of water, not too much at first, because just in case it becomes too liquidy. Whoa! That wasn't in the script. Add the water a little at a time. Now you don't need to stir this up too much, just so the ingredients are blended. And once you see no more flour on the side of the bowl, that's when it's we can call it ready. So basically just blend in the components. Give it a good stir. And I think this is ready. Now, how do we get into small little dumplings? Well, either you have a gadget like this, and you put the dough in there, and you put this over a boiling pot of water, and you move it back and forth, and of course, you know, it gets extruded into the water. Or you have one of these guys, which is basically a lid, almost like a lid, put it over the boiling water, put the dough in there, and with the aid of a spatula, you can just extrude the nokedli into the water. And if you don't have any of those, then what you do is you take a board like this, you wet it, you put the dough on it, and with a knife, just flick little pieces into the hot water. I'll show you how it's done. Do you remember I told you about the turmeric? We don't want to have the nokedli this anemic looking white color. What we want to do is kick up the color about 2 notches. And for that you need about half a little spoon of turmeric, that's all. We'll give it another stir. Oh, look at this, see? Already, it's looking much better. Now, if you were fortunate enough to get nice farm fresh eggs, of course the yolk would be nice and beautifully yellow, so you wouldn't need to resort to turmeric. But this is what it is, and it looks much better than before. As I told you, I had the cucumber salted already, so all the evil juices would drain out. And next we have to squeeze out as much of the liquid as possible. There we go. We put in some garlic, chopped garlic, finely chopped garlic, and we put in a mixture of 3 parts water and 1 part white vinegar. There we go. And then we put in a couple of tablespoons full of sugar. Depends on how sweet you like it. You can just sugar it up. Oh, I'd say that's about 2 tablespoonful. Then we give it a stir, and we let this stand, and this is ready. This is our cucumber salad. Yay! There we go. Well, the water is boiling very happily for the nokedli. Preparing it. Well, we have to make sure that our board is wet. Okay, there we go. Then we put on a little bit of this dough. And I just want to show you the technique. Okay, there we go. And you wet your knife. You bring it out like this, and then you start flicking it into the water. See? Every once in a while you have to wet your knife, make a nice little streak here. Now these are going to be a little bit larger than if you were to use the extruders, but nonetheless they taste just the same. So that's the technique. And this technique is using the spatula and one of these extruders. Again, I wet the extruder on the inside before I put the dough in there. So we stir it up every once in a while. And how do we know when it's ready? Well, as soon as they come up to the top of the water, give it another minute and a half, and they're ready. Okay, now it's coming up to boil. We'll wait a little bit, let it cook for another minute or so, and then we're going to transfer the nokedli into a bowl that is filled with cold water. There we go. So we drain it and put it into cold water. Drain it and put into cold water. And from the cold water bath, again we drain it quite well, as much as we can, and put it into a serving dish. We're going to put some vegetable oil on it, just a little drizzle on top, and then we're going to give it a stir. Oh my goodness, that looks good. Color is nice, the texture seems to be okay, and voila, nokedli. By now the chicken is almost done, so we'll do the sour cream slurry for it, for the sauce. There you go. About 2-3 spoonsful of sour cream. There we go. A little bit more out of it. And we take about 2 spoonsful of 2 spoonsful of flour. Oops, there you go, that's 2 spoonsful. And we stir it up with a little bit of water. And using the whisk that I stole from my grandkids, I'm going to make this into a little slurry that's not really lumpy. There we go. I think this should be just perfect. So let's see how's the chicken doing. I think it's doing just perfectly fine. So now what we want to do is thicken up the sauce with the sour cream slurry, and what we want to do is temper the sour cream first. If we put it in like this now, it's going to be all lumpy. So we're going to take some of the juice that's actually at higher temperature, mix it all up. There we go, nicely blended, you see, no lumps. You're going to crank up the heat. We crank up the heat. Then we grab another wooden spoon and slowly we'll put in the slurry into the sauce. There we go. And stir it up nice so it gets thickened up a little bit. There we go, the rest of it too. Now of course we have to do some tasting. Here I am. It's fantastic. The salt is just right. Now this is the time when I want to add in some, put in some extra hot pepper, paprika, hot paprika. There you go. Not too much, up to your taste. And of course, we didn't forget the tarragon. I'm going to take 1 pinch and 2 pinches of tarragon and a half pinch more. There you go, tarragon. All right. We'll give this a stir. Oh my goodness, it looks absolutely fabulous. You know what? We'll cook this for another 5 minutes without the cover this time, and then be ready for plating. And the moment we've been waiting for, the plating. Well, first of all, let me start with the nokedli. Notice they're not sticking together because we put some oil on it. All right, put it on a plate like that. Take a few pieces of meat. 1 chicken leg here. Put a little bit of a breast here. Right over here. That looks good. That's a thigh. And we're going to glaze it with some sauce. Just glaze it, okay? For presentation, put a little bit of sour cream on it in the center. There we go. Sour cream. Adorn it with a little bit of a parsley. And there you go. And of course, now we have to do the salad. The cucumber salad. And we usually sprinkle that with a little bit of paprika. There we go. That's all we need. So my friends, I present you chicken paprikash, also with some nice cucumber salad. Bon appetit, jó étvágyat kívánok, and until next time, I hope you have wonderful days ahead.
Lent a téli bábos hordobán, megakadt a szeme egy kis láb, hullámzott a göndörhajó a sötétben, mikor belenéztem